It has been a landmark budget from Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. And why not? If you look at the Sensex, it has zoomed 1,700 points. And what we can say about Nifty 50 is around about 500 points. But both the indices are still trading below the 52-week, or you could say the lifetime highs at this point in time. Now, in fact, Sensex and Nifty both have snapped 6 days of losing streak in which 11 lakh crores of market cap was wiped out. Larger context being, foreign institutional investors selling around about more than 12,000 odd crores. Foreign institutional investors were net sellers for more than 12,000 odd crores in the past week or so, and that's why we see a dramatic fall in the run up to the budget. But if you look at the broader counters of the budget, not the fine print as such, but the broader counters at this point in time from the finance minister speech, the two things that were required was growth and no additional taxation structure as such. I think both of these counters have been addressed, and we are seeing a broad-based rally in the markets. Not just Sensex, Nifty, we are seeing a good bit of rally. In fact, we are seeing a 6% kind of a jump in Nifty Bank, and we are seeing a good percent of increase in the capital goods index as well. Now, to discuss the impact of the budget 2021 on the markets and your portfolio, I would like to invite two of my participants, Kunj Bansal, CIO of Karvi Capital, as well as Rusmik Oza, who is an Executive Vice President, Head of Fundamental Research at Kotak Securities. Well, both of you, welcome to this discussion on markets and budget. Now, the first question I wanted to, spin it across to you, Rusmik, that, what is your first take on the budget? And we've seen a fiscal deficit of more than 9%. In fact, the expectations were around about 7 odd percent. And I was thinking that when it came at 9 odd percent, we could see a dip in the market. But I think both Sensex and Nifty, or you could say the broader D Street, have given a thumbs up to the fiscal deficit number, the borrowing number, and the good divestment number as such. So, what is your first take on the budget?
Yeah, good afternoon, Kshitij, and good afternoon, viewers also. It's actually been a complete pro-growth budget. Okay, what we were thinking and what has come out has been quite good. It's good for the equity markets, maybe not good for the bond markets. If we just dissect the balance sheet of the budget, basically what has happened is revenue minus expense, fiscal deficit. The fiscal deficit is shot up by around 1,60,000 crore, and to that extent, the expenditure is also going up. The total capital expenditure is moving up. We were anticipating around 3,90,000 crore to be the capital expenditure. It's now going up to 5,54,000 crores, which means you are going almost 26% higher on capital expenditure as compared to what the street and we were expecting around 12%. So this entire extra capital expenditure is straight going into the fiscal deficit, and that's being funded by the borrowings, which is good for the equity markets because a healthy 15 odd percent nominal GDP growth can stimulate the entire economy, and this time around one more reason for the markets to go up beyond the budget is there has been no tinkering on taxation also, which is
Absolutely.
quite good because the street was expecting some kind of COVID tax, but maybe indirectly, instead of
Hmm.
hitting on the personal taxation, indirectly they have put a cess on petrol, so it will be
Yeah.
equitably distributed across the masses. So net, I think it's been a completely expenditure growth budget, which is good for the economy. I'm sensing maybe the next 2-3 years could be the similar phase what we saw between 2004 and 2007, when
Hmm.
we had a very good, double-digit revenue growth, and we had almost a very good 20-25% CAGR earnings growth. Maybe, anyways, we are building in around 20% CAGR earnings growth between FY20 and 23. I think this
Right.
supports this budget, supports this entire thesis of growth going forward.
Absolutely, and in fact, Rusmik, there's we've seen this dialogue in the film industry. What does it require to push the markets higher? You require three things. One is growth, another is growth, and another is growth. So I think, my next question coming to you,
Yeah.
Mr. Bansal, we've seen growth, growth, and growth. I think in retail investors will take that with both hands, and not just retail, but financial institutions and the sovereign rating agencies as well will take that with both hands. So, what is your first take on the budget? I think it has been on the expected lines of whatever Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman promised. She has delivered on that, and in fact, the whole street is rejoicing. And we've not, I mean, we are slightly below the 50,000 mark, but then again, we are, we'll be able to probably climb 50,184, the record high level that we touched earlier in the month of January. So, what is your first take on the budget?
Yeah, so first take obviously is positive, does look positive rather. And the good thing is that the budget has been prepared for optimism, for positivity, for growth, as you yourself said. It's not that there has been a lot of caution kept in mind, and that's a good thing. If bad things were to happen, they would happen anyway, and one has to be ready to deal with that, whether it is government or the corporates or individual investors. So good thing is that the government hasn't thought about risks too much. They have gone ahead, prepared it for growth, prepared it for positivity, optimism,
Right.
and that is why the first reaction does seem positive. Of course, we also have this habit of looking at indices and drawing a view, but that is
Yeah,
where I would like to be a little bit cautious,
sure.
because the devil lies in the detail, as they say.
Yeah,
So we have already seen one agri infracess news
that's
on
right.
petrol of 2.5 rupees and diesel of 4 rupees. I have not yet confirmed, but this is what I've got now. That is
Yes.
something. Similarly, on the individual investors, we have seen capital gains tax coming on ULIP. I think it's about 2.5 lakh rupees of
Right.
premium. So,
Right.
so these are the kind of details that we have to look in. But still, as I said, it does look. In fact, finance minister checked all the boxes. So in she has talked about gig workers, she has talked about NHAI, she has talked about fisheries. So I was just trying to think that which are the key words or segment which she hasn't talked about. And one thing which came to my mind in lighter vein is, let's say, defense
Right.
forces she has talked
Defense
about,
forces.
but otherwise she has ticked all the right boxes.
Right. And the another question I wanted to put it across is something which was discussed in our earlier panel as well. So we are the lowest rating rate. Sometimes something which the economic survey also talked about. Do you think the budget will strengthen our position as a country, or we could look at a downgrade? But if you look at the contours of the budget at this point in time, Mr. Bansal, then it looks like growth is the prime focus, and the budget will only strengthen our position as a country. And if in case economy is growing, then corporate earnings will also grow. And in fact, if you look at the sectors which were in focus, I think there is a broad bit of infrastructure spend is there on the sector infra, as well as on the healthcare and the other broad sectors as well. So I think overall, I think it will strengthen our position as a country. What are your take on that? What's your take on that?
Yeah, so we always have this tussle between what we want and what is realistically possible.
Right.
What the mind thinks that can be done, and what the heart wants. So as a heart, as a wishful thinking, we obviously want the rating upgrade. And of course,
Right.
as a country, in terms of broader macroeconomic parameters, consistently over the last few years, we have been doing well. But I think rating agencies do take a lot of factors like per capita income, equality of earnings. So those are some of the social parameters, which is where we are still missing. Coming to the fact that, so as a result, I don't think budget is going to make any change to the views of rating agencies, positive or negative. In
Okay.
fact, it's a very good thing that the government, the finance minister, has put close to realistically possible numbers in terms of expenditure, in terms of fiscal deficit. Had she tried to show a fiscal deficit next year of 4.5%, 5.5%, it would have looked unrealistic, and possibly that could have resulted in further negative rating downgrade. So I
Yes.
don't think that's going to happen, because it was expected. The whole world has gone through the pandemic. Everybody has
True.
spent money. So has India. In fact, if at all, India has, as you rightly said, worked quite better in terms of vaccination, in terms of control, in terms of recovery. So those are positives. But still,
Right.
I don't think that budget per se is going to make any change to the rating.
Right, and that's a positive takeaway from the budget. And the next bit of if you focus on these sectors, I think the one of the prime sector which stands out is the life insurance companies. And Rosmin, I would like to throw this question to you. Now, why I say that is because if you look at the last 1 year, that is the year 2020, insurance companies have been in focus. I mean, the whole healthcare sector has been focused, but definitely the insurance companies have been in focus because of the outbreak of the pandemic, that is COVID-19 or coronavirus. And in fact, it has changed the way we do things that change. It has changed the way we live. It has changed the way we invest. It has changed the way we are looking at health. And that is something, this is a change we have seen across India. Do you think the rise in, or you could say the rise in the FDI limit from 49% to 74%, that's a welcome move and expected move as such from the investor's point of view? And what is your outlook on the insurance sector per se nowadays?
Kshitij, we were optimistic on the insurance before this also because the sector offers immense compounding growth going forward. Because unlike a mutual fund, the inflows in the insurance keeps coming in. So the kitty keeps on going up every year, and still maybe from penetration level, I think we've still go have a long way to go in terms of filling a lot of the gaps in terms of ensuring a lot of population of the country. So there is potential, I think, and the sector is getting quite mature. We've got a lot of listed players also in the market. Maybe there could be maybe one or two more companies which are going to get listed. In fact, two of the names are also in the Nifty now. So there is
Okay.
immense scope of market cap creation in these companies, and there is more
Mm.
scope that a lot of serious, large international insurance companies now could become more serious about India, because where do you get such huge population, 100 and almost 125, 130 crore population, and the growth opportunity that lies ahead? I think this insurance business could be in for the next 5 to 10 years in terms of growth, and investors, even if they're buying at this price, also I think there is a very long way to compound money in double digits going forward. So we're quite bullish on insurance also, but there are some more sectors also which can benefit indirectly. If you
Right.
want to touch on that also.
Sure, sure, absolutely, and no, we'll come to that.
Yeah,
But Kunal, can we say that from your perspective? I mean, we are expecting LIC, IPO now. Now it has become slightly more clear. The dust is settled with respect to LIC. So can we say that insurance sector is the sector for the next decade?
Yes,
yeah,
yes. I mean,
definitely.
obvious.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Kunz.
I'm putting this question to Kunal. Yes, yes.
Okay, so yes, obviously for the two reasons that you discussed just now, one, the LIC IPO coming in and likely to boost the sentiment, and two, the increase in FDI limit from 49 to 74. Now, let me also keep playing a little bit of caution man here instead of getting flown in into the positivity. I am not sure, and I need to check that number, that the current FDI limit in insurance companies 49. How many of them are at 49? Has the 49 been reached? Because I don't think so. So to that
Okay,
extent, 74 looks like a theoretical exercise, but still that is needed. You
right.
have to put up a board saying, yes, we are open for business. Then only you will have clients coming in, you will have vendors coming in, you will have foreign investors coming in. So that you have to say. So not, as I was saying, not only for these two reasons, even for the reasons that India is an underinsured market, the penetration is a long way to go, and we have been seeing this increasing with the more and more insurance coming in. With this budget, these two developments, yes, insurance sector indeed remains, let's say, anywhere in the range of 3 to 5, 6 years story. Could be longer also. We have to keep monitoring it.
Right. And your take, Rusmik sir, on the insurance sector for the next decade?
I think it's a sector to look for the decade. Okay, just to add what Kun said is that maybe once companies or the foreign players get a majority control of more than 50%, I think that will
Mhm.
be a good game changer for a lot of the large players who are interested see keenly to come into India, or
Right.
existing players who are keenly looking to increase exposure. So I think yes, definitely, and plus it as you rightly said, no, it's a good gesture that probably LIC is also getting listed. So we'll have a lot of pure comparison also, coming out later on once we have the largest player also getting listed, and it'll be interesting to then do a lot of peer comparison also of how players are
Mhm.
doing.
Right. And the next sector I would like to focus on, Mr. Bansal, is the healthcare sector. And we've seen good bit of outlay for the more than 60,000 odd crores in the Atmanirbhar Health Yojana. So, healthcare has been in focus in the year 2020 as well. We've seen more than 60% kind of a rally in the, you could say, Nifty Pharma Index or BSE Healthcare Index, the topmost performing index. And rightly so, because we've seen the onset of COVID, and pharma sector has not been in that limelight before. but because of the outbreak of COVID, the healthcare, the focus on healthcare is back. And is it the right time to place or go overweight on the healthcare sector, especially after the budget?
Yeah, so I would like to make a distinction. One,
Sure.
on the one hand, we have all the policies that have been announced in the budget, the
Yes.
allocation, the specific measures. Uh, so, one, the allocation is good. Of course, it's available once allocation has been made. Uh,
Right.
the question is how the execution moves, and that should move. I have no doubt, but still, that is something that we have to keep monitoring. So that's one part of it. The other part is the listed investment opportunities available to our viewers, our investors.
Yes.
Now, one, of course, there is an underlying assumption that there is a direct linkage that may or may not happen in some cases specifically. So
Mhm.
let's say if we talk of the pharma companies, they have been doing business as usual, irrespective of, they were not kind of struck for any supportive policy from the government. They neither needed capital. In fact, most of the well-performing companies, and very broadly putting in 70-80% of the pharma companies in India, listed pharma companies, are net cash positive,
Right.
and that's
Right.
that credit to their working. So they were
Yes.
not looking for that. There were
Uh-huh.
probably no restrictive policies for them to grow domestic market other than the NLEM, the pricing policies,
Mhm.
which has to happen in the social, and the budget doesn't remove them. So that has not
Sure.
happened. They did
Sure.
not have any restriction on export other than that they have to comply with US FDA and other regulators, which still the budget can't help them.
Right.
But still, the any such announcement coming in budget, in fact, same applies for infra companies also, is very broadly positive for the sector. Whether one should increase allocation or not, one has to keep in mind that in the year 2020, we have already seen 50-60% kind of run coming in. But
Right.
my view,
Right.
yes, the sector is still can not can is likely to be an outperformer, so investment should be made.
Right. And Rusmik sir, now, one of the big expectations from the budget was, the scrappage policy for the auto sector. Although, small bit of information came ahead of the budget wherein, the government vehicles were put under the scrappage policy. Although broader details will be notified soon, but that's a voluntary scrappage policy has really, fired up the auto space as well. Now, do you think that for the auto sector, the budget has tick marked all the boxes?
For automobiles, I think we need to go into the nitty-gritty and the details. As far as the scrappage policy is concerned, it's an incentive for a lot of people. But what they're saying is, for passenger vehicles more than 20 years and for commercial vehicles more than 15 years, it makes more sense for the commercial vehicle, players who, if they're getting proper incentive to move out from the old vehicles and get into new vehicles. Because for in particularly in the case of passenger vehicles nowadays, people try and tend to move change cars, maybe less than 10 years now. So the life of
Mhm.
change has already come down on its own. Voluntarily people are actually, as the per capita income goes up in the economy, and as people upgrade from two-wheelers to cars, from cars to sedans to utility vehicles, that journey is continuing, and we're seeing more
Right.
migration from the lower cars to higher cars. So I think scrappage policy will have to just look into the details of what kinds of incentives they're giving for the commercial vehicle segment, because that's the key. Because most of the pollution is nowadays happening on account of the trucks largely in cities. At least because of the BS6 norms coming in, usage of
Yeah.
CNG and everything, the pollution levels are manageable, I think, nowadays. But going forward, yes, I think so. One needs to see the incentive for the commercial vehicle segment. That will be important.
Right. And in fact, Kuntal, we've seen quite a bit of action in the, PSU stocks, especially the, divestment of 1.75 lakh crore. So do you think that this time it will be possible? Yes, last year, because of the COVID, a lot of things did not happen as per plan. So do you think that this year government will be able to reach the divestment target, although it has been lowered to a certain extent?
Yeah, keeping some optimism in mind, I think it should. Of course, there can be a lot of things which can work out at any point of time, but still, yes, I think it should work out. The government has almost 13 months from now. In fact, it would like to do it much earlier instead of waiting for 13 months. Markets are reasonably positive.
Right.
Indices are trading close to life highs. The valuations available are foreign investors are willing to look at India. So all the pieces are in place. I think the need is to move quickly, because such an elephant will need time to go in for IPO to complete all the processes. So yes, it looks like it will be positive, and as a result, the re-rating of the public sector space, which started about 3 months ago, could
Right.
continue. Let's keep in mind, or rather, I would like to put it that although traditionally I have not been a very good PSU sector has not been a very good liking for me because of the consistent underperformance both in
Mhm.
financial and stock price. But last 3 months we have been seeing re-rating, which should continue, and that's where I am also reviewing my view whether it should change. Looks like we will be in for good days. Also, announcement keeping in mind the two banks and one insurance company privatization, not divestment, not offer for sale of shares, not follow up issue. Privatization is the word FM has
Private.
used. So putting all
Absolutely.
these things together, yes.
Right. In fact, Mr. Oza, what exactly is firing up the banking space? We're seeing 6% kind of rally in the Nifty Bank, and is it the bad bank? Formation of a bad bank, or recapitalization of PSUs, or asset reconstruction? What exactly is firing up banking stocks at this point in time?
Yeah, I think banks, yes, you're right. This formation of the ARC management, kind of a bad bank is quite good because it'll absorb a lot of the bad debts, and banks could then again focus on growth. Because if you're talking of 14-15% nominal GDP growth, then I think
Right.
we should tentatively have at least a double digit or close to 10% credit offtake in the economy. So,
Right.
anyways, the stage for a decent credit offtake is set on. The only below that, the only problem is provisioning and the NPAs. So I think RBI probably will now again have a relook post the moratorium gets over. Maybe they could come out with a fresh set of look at what kind of NPAs are there in the banking system. But it provides a relief to a lot of the PSU banks, and if it the indication also comes from that lower amount of recapitalization. So only 20,000 crore recapitalization means the government is not trying to focus and put a lot of money, and that means that a lot of the NPS could be taken off the balance sheet, probably I think so, of these PSU banks, so that they don't need much recapitalization and they can focus on growth. So what my take and view is that maybe once this process happens and valuations of PSU banks goes up, then they'll be
Right.
on it their own. They'll be in a better position to raise money also, because right now they're in a cash 22 situation. You can't
Right.
raise more money at below price to book. Otherwise, you dilute the equity, and return on equity goes for a toss. So, slow. It's a slow and steady process which is happening. And
True.
anyways, private banks were doing well. Results have also been
Sure.
coming out good. So it's net. It's a good impact for the sector.
All right, net positive for the banking sector. Another sector which is in focus, Mr. Bansal, is the real estate sector. In fact, we are seeing quite a bit of announcements coming for the infrastructure sector and affordable housing. And yes, it was in limelight ahead of the event. In fact, the kind of 50 or 60% kind of rally that we have seen in Sensex and Nifty, in a similar fashion, we have seen real estate bouncing back, and expectations were high for some sort of announcement for the real estate sector, because if India has to boost growth, or India has to increase jobs at this point in time, I think infrastructure and real estate are the top two sectors, or top two themes to look at. What is your take on the real estate sector, Mr. Bansal, at this point in time?
Yeah. So you are right. Along with infrastructure, real estate, and also as FM mentioned separately, textiles are some of the sectors which are high employment generation sectors. And it is natural that after the unemployment increase that happened post-pandemic, which subsequently has reduced, the focus of the government needed to come on all these two, three sectors, and which has rightly come in. In fact, as mentioned in that series of so-called five mini budgets which happened over the last 1 year,
Absolutely.
also had a lot of focus on real estate. A large part of that focus has been on the lower end housing, and which is rightly so, because that is where government needs to come in. Upper end housing, the private bodies, the private builders as well as buyers can manage on their own. So we have seen that coming in. We have seen some announcements coming in this budget as well. So
Mhm.
overall, it does look positive. Again, the issue remains that in a lot of sectors, like earlier we talked of health, in case of infra, similarly in case of infra, there is no direct support that can come or has come into the listed real estate players. So what I mean to say is that the focus has gone on the lower end affordable housing, Prime Minister Awas Yojana and things like that. Not much of the business of listed real estate companies comes from these lower end housing areas. There are few which do some business, but not much. So to that extent, there is no linkage. And I'm saying this not to be negative or not to portray that things are not good or will not be good, but just to give a clarifications. But let's keep in mind that any support directly or indirectly does culminate into the sector doing well over a period of time. Secondary, tertiary effects do take place and give benefit to the overall growth. And that is where I think it will remain positive for the real estate sector.
Right. And now the last two questions or final question, I want to put it across to both of you. And in fact, this is something which, investors would want to know. So starting from Rusmik, which are the key, you could say, gainers and losers in terms of sectors from the budget 2021?
Yeah, I think so. A lot of industries we have not gone into the changes. They are trying to bring it into the custom side. But my take is a lot of hardcore manufacturing companies which were had a little negative impact on account of lower custom duty. Once in the next, the government is going to review almost some for old RCHAC 400 cases of exemption in custom duty, and by October they're going to come out. After that, the changes which are likely to happen. So it's going to be all sector and stock specific changes which one needs to incorporate. But yeah, broadly what the FMS touched on, is like insurance, textiles, capital goods, construction companies will do well. Infrastructure companies should also do well going forward. So mainly some of the manufacturing industries also could do well going forward. But I think so in manufacturing one needs to be very specific, looking at what the changes in duties are over there. But it's a good economic recovery theme, where most of the pure manufacturing companies fit in. For example, I'll just give an example like what happened in case of a lot of the AC companies. In case of Havels, they had a very good bumper season on their AC because of the imposition of duties and promoting more of domestic manufacturing of ACs. So I think these are the nitty-gritty we need to watch out. But net, I think it's going to be good for most of the manufacturing sector because of the overall growth only which is going to come into the economy.
Right. And Mr. Bansal, how do you, which sectors are likely to gain or lose from the budget?
Yeah, so if I talk of the two extreme ends, one clear positive is insurance, and there'll be a lot of other sectors in between. On the other hand, I indeed want to analyze in detail the changes on the customs duty that have been made in this budget on import of scrap, copper scrap, steel scrap, and some of the intermediate products and all. And I want to see how that is going to affect the sector, whether it is going to be positive or negative. As a result, will the prices in domestic market likely to come down for steel companies? So if that is the case, then that can be negative. But as I said, we need to study that. Similarly, there is some tunnel boring machine, some import duty was changed. I don't remember whether it is increased, decreased, was there, has been reduced or something like that. So that also has to be studied. Now, of course, tunnel boring machine is not a very great part of the overall infrastructure industry. But if some similar changes have been done in terms of increase in custom duty on the import of some of the equipments that capital goods industry needs, then that could be the negative. In between these two extremes, we have auto scrappage policy announcement, of course, had been made before the budget itself, but that is likely to be a big positive for the industry. So that will be beneficiary. Textile will be beneficiary. So I think this is where health we discussed will be. So within that, in my view, probably diagnostics and pathological companies are the ones which will be higher beneficiary compared to the pharma medicine manufacturing companies. So these are some of the observations that I have.
Right. So insurance, we could say, in terms of insurance companies, health and economy-linked sectors are likely to benefit the most. And now, any comment on the stocks or post-budget picks that we could say, Mr. Oza?
No, so we were before budget also we were pushing goods infra construction companies because the segment has been quite beaten down, and they were getting a lot of orders, but the kind of spend we are seeing almost a 26% jump in capital expenditure, which is quite substantial. Almost 1,60,000 crore additional expenditure, which can set the ball rolling for a lot of or these companies in terms of order booking. And once the order booking starts, the balance sheets are quite not so excessively leveraged. So these are the spaces which I'm extremely bullish on as of now, apart from insurance, you can see.
All right. And Mr. Bansal, any post-budget picks for you from your side?
Yeah. So always difficult to answer these questions. As I said, once we analyze the details overnight, today, tomorrow, we might have a different context of the market. Having said
Absolutely.
that, from the positive sectors, as I said, insurance, HDFC Life and ICICI Lombard, of course, valuation always remains under unacceptable territory, but for good quality businesses, the valuations are not an issue. So those are the ones looks like good pick to me. As I discussed that public sector public sector space, I have not been liking, but there might be things changing in, and if that happens, then some of the well managed companies, good performing companies like Bharat Electronics, like GAIL India, like Coal India, which are very attractively valued also, besides doing reasonably well on financials, could be the other investment picks.
Right. And very quick in just 10 seconds. So how do you rate the budget from 1 to 5, 5 being the best, Mr. Oza?
I'll rate at 4.5, between 4 and 4.5, because it's covered most of the aspects, but then we need to just watch out for certain growth assumptions, because we just need to see, my only worry is that we should not get any second wave of COVID in India, the way
Absolutely.
some of the developed markets are seeing right now. If
Yes.
if God saves us, and if you don't, then I think so this budget could be a good game changer in terms of rebuilding the economy of the COVID damage and lockdown that we saw last year. So I would rate it at 4.5 out of 5.
Right. And I think 4.5 will take that with both hands. And Mr. Bansal, what are your views? How do you rate the budget from 1 to 5?
Yeah, so I would like to play slightly cautious, although not very pessimist or negative. So I'll rate it
Right.
somewhere between 3.75 to 4 based on the cursory reading, and I am keeping some discount or benefit to myself of reading the finer prints and then seeing
Sure.
some disappointments. So that's why.
All right. Mr. Bansal is slightly cautious, but definitely positive. Mr. Oza is definitely positive. Around about 4.5. That's what, the budget rating is. I think overall, it has been a fruitful discussion. And, for investors, the only sectors to look at would be the economy linked sector, insurance companies, healthcare companies are some of the sectors to look at. Well,